Welcome, everybody. Episode 24 of the Digital Cypher Podcast. It's me, the Don CJG, today as your lovely host. And we have two dear friends, Dio and Ebonixs, with me today. How you doing, boys? How you doing?
Great.
What is up, man? Don CJG, thank you for the intro. Oof. Man, that countdown was deceiving, I tell you.
Oh yeah, that's on my end.
That
I was
countdown.
like, really?
Yeah, so your bro has more work to do with that countdown. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, don't hate the brother, just hate the game. What is going on? What is going on? It's been a week, hasn't it been?
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Oh man. We got topics. Everything from conniving people to people saying that they want to do something different to, people changing up the game in their development plans to, people, just doing XP, what was it, FPS boost, well, other people can't, but say they can't. It's just people. So,
people doing things.
People doing big things. What have you been up to, Don?
Me this week, man. It's been a lot of sleeping. It's been a lot of working. It's been a lot of researching. I played a game what no one's heard of. I guarantee you.
What is that game?
Yoku and Yuki's Revenge against Dr. Rat. Something like that.
Where do you find this stuff, bro?
Game Pass, that's where.
I know, but
No, not
still,
even Game Pass.
you gotta be digging. You gotta be digging in Game Pass to find this stuff.
Listen, I have my sources. Don't worry.
Look, you listen. You don't say listen. Awesome.
I have my resources.
Okay. What about you, Dio?
Just work. A lot of big project that we're going on right now. Stocks in my crypto in particular have been doing very well.
Nice.
Hopefully everyone else has been investing also and doing well as well.
Yo, it's been interesting,
Yes,
especially
sir.
with the NFTs and stuff like that, man. It's just been nonsense. So
Oh my god.
I'm gonna leave that to a different discussion. That's like we need to have a podcast that's just talk about everything else digital.
All right.
I'm telling you. But for anyone new to the podcast, this is a gaming centric podcast. So you're gonna be hearing a lot of things, some opinions and some things that are going on in the industry that you just wanna learn about. So awesome. Don CJG, what you got for us this week?
Okay. Cool. I know you said you wanted to start the show off with some happy news. I don't really have any.
Man, it thought you said breaking news.
So-
What's going on with you, son?
Yeah, there is some breaking news today. So there was a little an article that came out about, I'm gonna say 2-3 days ago, to do with Halo Infinite, and this came out on a website called Reset Era, which I believe is a gaming forum website. And this kind of was a brief translation from Mandarin from a website called Bilibili. And this video was posted by Eric Lin, who is a former artist at 343 Industries. So they're working on Halo Infinite.
Okay.
And this video kind of talked about their time there at the studio. And they've left now. And the translation was very kind of vague, and it was very only partial, because the video itself was like 15 minutes long. And they only took a few small points out of it. And basically that Reset Era forum post basically said the game was being overambitious and content had to be cut. They were saying that the game engine is basically not ready and it just needs a lot of work. And they're also saying that the dev was glad to be out of 343 Industries because of the quote-unquote crunch culture there. Which, when you look at it on paper, from those words, that sounds quite horrible and negative
Yeah.
towards 343 and Halo. It's a bit worrisome, and this kind of story was floating around the internet a little bit for a few days. And upon first glance reading it, I was like, okay, is this some other inflammatory story going around on Halo Infinite again, or is there some truth to this? And this morning, for me, there was a video what was posted on the same website, Bilibili, which is like a Chinese version of YouTube, by Eric Lin, the same guy who posted the original video, and he was a bit upset that the news media was spinning the story in a very negative light about what he was saying. Because you can imagine if you're a developer and you've come out in a platform like YouTube and you're speaking out about your time at a studio, and suddenly taken very negatively. You can imagine what your future prospects in another company, are people going to trust you? You know what I mean?
Very true.
Out here trash talking. So he said, let me clarify what I'm talking about here, because it's a bit misleading what media sources are saying compared to what he actually said. And he put this video in English, so it's very clear to everybody. Listen, let's not mess about with this one. So he seemed like a really cool dude, and he was, he kind of broke down what the media were saying from what he said in his original video, and I'll kind of break it down here as for a couple of points. The game being overly ambitious and content being cut. He kind of described this as to, you look at every form of media within entertainment, would that be music, movies, TV, video games, things get cut eventually, But yeah, whether the game grows or the vision slightly change. That was the case here. It wasn't that the game got too big and they had to, scale back. That wasn't really the case. It's just that some things didn't fit what the game was going to be and it got cut out. As it just happens. Same with movies. I think he used an analogy from Revenge of the Sith, and there was the scene with Yoda what got cut out, and this guy was, he's begging George Lucas, keep it in, but if it didn't fit what the movie was going for, then it gets cut out. And I'm sure that happens with every game studio. But just because people want to shine us a negative light, Halo Infinite's getting cut, such and such. So that was that. As for the game engine not being ready, you could, we look at Slipspace, I believe, the engine for Infinite, and this is something what's brand new, right? They've been using the Havoc engine since I think Halo 1 all the way to now. So Slipspace is something completely brand new, and it's it's being developed as we speak, and you kind of put it down to, hey, look, don't look at this as the engine not being capable, because it is, and it's being updated every day, and it's making huge progress and leaps. But just because it's something new, and doesn't mean that it's not going to be ready.
Yeah.
I think you use an analogy of look at Unreal 4, right? Even though they've announced Unreal 5, they're still updating 4.
Right.
And for him being glad to be out of 343 Industries, I think this is something that really led to the idea that 343 are under crunch, which he said isn't really the case. And there's a lot of opinions out there on the internet saying that the game's being rushed too. I know there's a lot of vocal people in the community who are a bit like, they don't trust 343 at this point. But he said he said he's had an amazing time working on Infinite. He's had a great time at 343 in general, and there isn't really a crunch culture there. He said that he kind of put it down to, as being an artist, when you have these moments of this creative flow, you don't want to necessarily break your your flow of work by doing something else or quitting or stopping. So it's not necessarily crunch, but he's more so that he's motivated to keep going, even though he's basically working overtime, But people are putting this negative spin to saying, oh, he's putting in loads of extra hours, such and such, he's working till midnight or whatever. It's not that he doesn't want to, it's not that he's even forced to, it's more he's doing it because he wants to. And his main message kind of was, don't judge the entire studio, the entire project as a whole from one person's experience,
Yeah.
And I think people really kind of misconstrued what he said originally, and they're putting this entire negative spin on Halo Infinite and 343 and potentially Microsoft as a whole, that hey, look, this game's gonna be not up to the expectation of people want, just because of these false kind of accusations that are going out there.
So
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like I can't definitively say that there's no crunch culture there, right? Because none of us work there, none of us have been in
Yeah.
that atmosphere. But I kind of find it a little hard to believe that it's very severely done anyways, because they've already pushed back the game, and it's not even like an official release date, correct?
Yeah, no, it's not.
So
they just said fall this year.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, like, could things like that happen? Sure, of course, but I think it's more like how he's saying, like, people do it out of the love, or maybe it just like getting caught up at work as opposed to being forced to do it. Maybe,
Yeah.
If they had a hard date, then I could maybe see that going on. But because of the fact that it's still a vague date, and who knows, they could even push it back further if they had to, right?
Yeah, 100%. But that's kind of been their messaging the whole time. It's like, hey, look, we want this game to be out when it's ready.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think people did take his words out of context. Sorry, Box.
No, you good. You good. So it's interesting. Don, what is it that he does specifically?
I believe he is a skybox artist, and I think he's kind of dipped his hands in some other bits over there too.
Okay, so he's kind of like a he's communicating with the developers and the designers to create the ultimate sky, the same sky that we looked at and we was like, yo, some of the Asian community might enjoy seeing the night sky, the day sky, and how it's very dynamic and lush in some sense.
Yeah.
Right. So it looks like he was involved in some of that that piece of work, development and artistry, if you will. My thing about it is, why say something now? Like, when did he leave?
I don't think he mentioned when he left. To be fair, but I think it was just one of those videos put up for people asking questions. He wanted to kind of just talk about it.
Okay, because my question again is why now, right? Why is he voking, and why is he being very vocal about that? His original video, why did he speak on that in those kind of terms, right?
Yeah.
And then having to then backtrack and then create like an apology statement for what was said and what he meant, because it's been misconstrued, because then the industry is taking it to a different light. Like you said, if he's looking for a job elsewhere, they're going to turn back to that video in Chinese, I would assume, or Japanese, I'm not sure which one it was, but
Mandarin, yeah.
Mandarin, okay. Yeah. And then say, hey, we got issues with the way you handled your employment with 343. And it's not that it's 343. It's that it's an Xbox studio. I mean, it's a Microsoft studio, Microsoft Game Studio.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard. Not for him, but it's going to be hard for people who are trying to be vocal about certain things, that they choose their words wisely, because now Xbox is not the Xbox of 2013. You know what I'm saying? So if people are looking for partnerships, that means the studios and people within the studios have to be mindful of what they say, because they're held underneath some form of contract, NDA, or even just personal opinion can shift under a decision. So that's why I'm asking, like when did he get out, and why speak about it now? Because that's kind of, I think those situations would give us an idea of why he spoke on about it that way. But yeah, man, interesting, very interesting. What else you got?
mean,
go ahead.
Not to keep jabbing at this guy, but I mean, you said he was like a sky designer.
Yeah.
Skybox.
But like more on like the artist side of it, right? Like not like any like coding or programming. So I mean, not to downplay what he does, but I mean, how much crunch time would someone in that position really have to do? You know what I mean? Like, I see that more on like the developer side or like the management side, and You know, if you're coding and you're doing stuff like that, I could totally see crunch
Well,
time coming up. You know?
the Skybox deals with. I wouldn't. Well, I can't say yes or no, but I believe that the
Yeah, like
Skybox
I
deal
can't
with.
say for sure, but I just can't see it being as bad, right?
Well,
Oh yeah, for sure. I
because
think that, yeah, I think every bomb has their own element of crunch, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think his job is more in tune with the development side than the creative side, because
Okay.
is he like a lead Skybox designer, like a person who's head of
I don't think he's a lead per se.
so okay, all right, so I'm gonna just say it this way. When you're dealing with a Skybox, you know, where we talk about day and night cycles, the transitionings, and how the clouds are moving, and you know, if I must say, because I'm a fan of sakura petals flowing into the air and the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? Like the immersive feel, like of how the sky and the ground and the lighting for the ocean, like everything must match. You know, now the Skybox has some form of code technicality to it, if
Of course.
you know, but being that it's a slip space engine, we don't know. My reference is Unreal Engine, and that can be done purely from behind, like you can do it on the UI, right?
Okay.
So there's just different aspects, different engines do much. We can't say, but what we in this podcast have understood is crunch time is a normal thing for the game industry. It is not new. It is kind of like you're going into this job, you're going to have crunch time. So it seems to me that this guy has a personal bout with someone, or maybe his department, or maybe the managing aspect of it, and it's not just 343. You know what I'm saying? If he left, you know, because I'm looking at some of these other guys who are kind of like dealing with agencies, they're temp and they're trying to get that full-time job. And they're like, hey, if you want to get into the business, you just do whatever you can to get in, and then you make yourself known for what it is that you do. Like it's gonna take some time, definitely, but if you came in for sound design and then you ended up being like, you know, the it factor for everything, you know, audio, you're talking for recording, for voiceovers, for script, for design, you know what I'm saying? Because all things, like, regardless of what you do, everything impacts the other parts of your game.
Oh yeah.
So it's, you know, you get what you gotta get to get in. He's probably already in position. You know, I'm just wondering, is like, how does this paint
like a power move or something, right?
How does this paint a better picture for people who are on that mindset, like, I'm gonna get in, I don't care how I get in or what I do to get in? Not like, you know, not like Hollywood where you gotta, you know, do some vile stuff, but like, yo, I would be the Starbucks boy getting your coffee, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to go first.
To get in, you know. So yeah, it's tough, and I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. I'm just trying to understand the concept of why now, like, and with his position, why now do that when the game is going to get released and there's so much hype behind it. You know, what is his alternative motive for speaking out now? You know, he could have done so when we're talking about, you know, the quality of what was it? The ogre or whatever his name was, you know, what I don't know what the name is. Don, you know what it is. You know, the face was all low quality, and that couldn't be.
Oh, Greg the Brute.
Yeah,
the Brute.
He could have done it then. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It is what it is.